How is it like to come down here to fight at ADCC?
It's awesome. I'm a pretty big fan of Brazil. I'm a pretty big fan of Sao Paulo. I know Sao Paulo is not Rio, and Rio and Sao Paulo are a lot different, but it's my second time to Brazil, second time to Sao Paulo, and I like it quite a bit.
So second time here, and you won't get a chance to go to the beach and spend some time in Rio, Brazil, like the beach and the sun.
Yeah. I'm saving Rio for when I can bring my wife and my son, when I can bring them all down together. Then we'll go to Rio.
Yeah, that's fair. So you're here not for fun. You're here to compete. How was your training for this competition? It's a lot different than fighting for the UFC. You have a lot of matches to fight in one day. Was everything different compared to the UFC fights you do?
Yeah, training for me is pretty much the same. We train pretty hard every day. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, grappling, stand-up. The strength conditioning is all pretty much all the same. Getting ready for a fight as getting ready for a jiu-jitsu competition. So really, to be honest, it kind of all stay the same. I did have a couple of extra sessions with my boy, my Padrino, Tiquinho Mendez. A couple extra Sundays we got in there and did ADCC matches, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, first, 5 minutes next, all that sort of stuff. So, but for the most part, it's all pretty much the same.
You always enter jiu-jitsu tournaments in the US. Is this different because you don't have the gi? Do you think you are going to perform better since you won't have to deal with the gi jiu-jitsu?
I'm pretty comfortable in the gi. Gi's definitely a world of difference. But I'm as comfortable in the gi as I am in no gi. I'm as comfortable in the gi as I am inside the octagon. Doesn't much change to me, The rules change a little bit. Certain moves you do are a little bit different, but for the most part, it's all the same thing.
Last week, the UFC announced your next fight. You're coming back against Thiago Alves in South Korea. How good is to know that you're fighting next in South Korea? It's an important place for you.
Yeah, getting the South Korea card, being the main event on that is a very big deal for me. I was very excited. I was happy. I was very, very happy when it got announced, when everything was made official, because we were in talks for it for quite a while, and then when it was made official, I was pretty stoked for that. So this is another thing to be excited for and get ready to train hard for, and be as physically prepared, mentally prepared, as emotionally prepared as possible, and go into Korea and have a good performance.
You had a big win in your last fight at 170. Why stay at 170 and not go back to 155?
For right now, 170 was because that's who was offered. The UFC offered Thiago Alves at 170, so we said sure. If they would have offered somebody else at 155, I probably would have said yes to that too. So it doesn't really matter much to me, 155 or 170. I'm looking to add another belt to my wall, and I want to do that the quickest way possible.
What are your thoughts on Alves as an opponent? What do you think of this matchup?
Alves is a great opponent. He fought for the title before. He's a 170-pound, past title contender. His last fight was, the winner got a title shot, so he's right up there. We know he's tough as heck. He's a big 70-pounder. He's had rumored for a long time, talked about going to 185. Just recently, they talked about him going down to 155. But we're a pretty similar build. He's not too much bigger than I am. Height-wise, body-wise, we're the same height, but he's a lot thicker than I am. So we think it's a good matchup for us.
Thiago Alves is also here in Brazil for ADCC. His coach is competing this weekend. Did you get a chance to meet him at the hotel already?
I have, yeah. We ran into each other at the airport and at the hotel a couple of times. We shook hands, and yeah, he's a nice guy. I have a ton of respect. I love what they do down at ATT. They do things the right way. So for his camp, himself, all those guys, I have a ton of respect for it, and my hat's off to all those guys. You
were talking about Alves being at the top of the division. His last opponent got a title shot. Do you think that with your history in the UFC, being a former champion at 155, do you think that a win could get to maybe one fight away from a title fight?
I have no idea. With the way the UFC goes, the way the UFC matchmaking works up, and this happens, that happens, yada yada yada. Who knows? We live in such a a weird world and such a the sport we do is such a kind of a finicky sport. You can have one good performance, one spectacular, amazing performance, and all of a sudden you're in a title shot. You could have one, or you could have like 7 or 8, wins, but not really solid, great performances. But you got your hand raised. You won 7 times, 8 times in a row, 9 times in a row, but you're just, subpar performances, and you don't get a title shot. So you just never know in this sport. I have no idea to answer your question. Who knows? We'll see. We'll find out.
Knowing that, do you get in your mind that you have to go there and put on a great performance and maybe finish him to get closer faster to a title shot?
I think anytime you go into a fight, no matter what, you want to have a great performance. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where a title shot is on the line. It doesn't matter whether it's your main event. It doesn't matter whether it's your first time in the UFC, you're fighting in your home crowd and you want to put on a spectacular performance. You want to have a good performance, a great performance no matter what. You want to go out there, you want to have a great performance. If it leads to a knockout, awesome, great. If it leads to a submission, awesome, great. It leads to any bonuses, that's awesome. But you, first and foremost, you want to go out there and have a good performance, a great performance, and get your hand raised. You do that, everything else will take care of itself.
And being a 5-round fight, do you think that benefits you more than him?
I think at 170, I'll need my 5-round fights. I'm pretty good at 5 rounds. I'm pretty, established there. I can do 5 hard. I can do 5 rounds at a full sprint the entire time. No problem. But at 170, those guys are pretty big. They're pretty strong. They're pretty good. So I'll definitely need, I think, 5 rounds to wear those big boys down.
When you visualize the fight, when you imagine the fight going, how do you see yourself beating him?
Beating Alves? By any way possible. It doesn't matter. I am a strong proponent of visualization, mental work, so every time I step into a ring, actually physically step into the ring, I've already seen myself step into the ring at least 1,000 times before. I've seen myself win 300, 400 times by some sort of submission. I see myself win 300, 400 times by some sort of knockout. I see myself win 300, 400 times by some sort of decision. So I have run the gamut of all possible ways of the fight ending, every way with my hand raised. But who knows how it's going to play out, whether it's a knockout or a submission or a decision or who knows what it is.
Thank you, man.